Okay, so this is the Supercharger belt and Serpentine belt replacement for the 3.0 supercharged Audi engine in A6, A7, and I'm assuming other models. So here is the Supercharger belt number or part number from Continental, and this is the Serpentine belt, or the accessory, whatever it would be called, the longer one. So hopefully these are the right part numbers. So the process basically goes, remove that this supercharger belt from the tensioner pulley, and then we will remove the Serpentine belt from its tensioner pulley, and then to get the accessory belt off, we loosen up the supercharger idler by like 1/2 inch to slip the other belt on, and everything should go together. There was some talk about removing these metal lines to get to the pulley. I think I pointed to the wrong one at first, but this is the tensioner pulley back here. It's kind of hard to see, but a 5/8 wrench will do it. Actually, I'm going to be using this one because it has an angled end. I already tested it out, so it should work. You should have enough torque on it. So that's the process, and then we'll get started here. So I have the 5/8 wrench on the Supercharger belt tensioner. So I'm going to push it to the right, and that should loosen the belt. I think this will just, if I get enough slack, come right off. I guess it would be easier to get the belt from the other pulley. Now, I did not put the pin in this. I don't know if that's gonna... Yeah, see, it's gonna drop down like this. But I think I saw people on the forums. I'm gonna link to all the forum posts I saw. You really don't need to put the pin in the hole for the supercharger idler. So that's off. So now next step. Okay, so I have the M10 triple square on this Serpentine belt tool. It's a 3/8 inch end, so you can just, and it's a low profile triple square. So this is gonna loosen up the idler pulley for the supercharger, and this might take a while. I'm gonna probably cut here and do the rest of this, but you just want to move this idler pulley off about 1/2 inch. It looks like it's spinning freely, so that's good. Okay, so I have the 5/8 inch wrench on here. I didn't use the angled end. I said I was going to. It fit on, let's see if we can focus in there, the tensioner pulley for the Serpentine belt behind these coolant lines. So I'm not taking these off. I have the idler pulley pulled out a little bit. If I need it more, I'll just back it off a little bit more, but this should be pretty straightforward. So here goes nothing. So we're pushing down on the pulley, and again, I'm not using the pin, and I'm pulling the belt off from the top over here. So now that's off. Now I'm just fishing it out through the lines, and now this idler, or the tensioner pulley's off, so no tension on that, and the belt is loose. So I'm gonna work on getting this fished out of here. Okay, so I fished this. I started taking the belt off. This is the new belt on, not completely though. The old belt was going through, but I would link a diagram in the bottom, but I actually didn't have to use it so far. I'm going to double check with it. But I started fishing the new belt the same way I was taking the old belt off, so I wouldn't get messed up. So it kind of, I don't know how else, I mean, it's really hard to film when you're not in this service position because there's not a lot of space. But it's honestly pretty self-explanatory. And like I said, there'll be a diagram in the description. Or a link to it. So we have it around. I remember someone on the forums, I'll link to that too, said to put it around these right pulleys first on the right side of the engine. And then my plan is to put it around this pulley. If you can see it down there, I'm not really getting it. That went to the left of the screen. Put that on when I release the tension from the tensioner pulley. So that way, I mean, I didn't use a pin to hold the pulley, so it's just a little bit an extra step, but I think it should be fine. So if I don't record that, I might use my cameraman to help. So if I don't get that on, it should be. I'll explain it after. Recording. Okay. So we finally got it on. It was a PETA, pain in the ass, but so what we did, I disregard whatever I said before. We had it fully on the crankshaft, fully on the idler or the tensioner pulley, so the smooth one, fully on this one to the right, and then so I got my wrench, actually a longer one than I had before. Honestly, I don't know how long it was, 10-inch wrench or whatever. A longer one would be fine too. I used this end, the open end, cranked down as hard as I could, as far as it would go on the tensioner pulley. And then from there, I had this pulley to the left and the center top pulley off. And I pulled the belt from here, tugged on it, because once you do the tensioner, the belt doesn't just go with it. You have to pull the actual pulleys to gain some slack. So I pulled it over here, and then I slowly just fished it over the one to the left, the bottom left. And I had to reach my hand backwards like this, and you'll get it. If we can do it. I mean, I think it did only take one person after all. We tried it with 2 people, but, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was just me. Okay, so, yeah, so after that, now I'm going to tighten the idler pulley down, and you'll see that. I won't show that, but I'll tighten that down, and then I'll put the supercharger belt on. That, fingers crossed, filming. Okay. All right, so I just tightened back up the, supercharger idler pulley with the M10 on this Serpentine belt. This I got from O'Reilly's. They do like a rental program. So I just tightened that back up. You obviously can't, I was talking about torquing it down, but I wouldn't be able to fit a torque wrench in there. So I guess it's just good to where it's good, and give it a few ugga-duggas, and yeah. And then so now we're putting the supercharger belt on. Okay, so now I'm putting the supercharger belt on. I have it around the crankshaft pulley, the tensioner pulley, and kind of resting on the idler pulley and up here. So I'm going to crank the tensioner, pull the belt, and this should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so after being sweaty and covered in gunk, and our flashlights are dying, which is really sucks. So to get the supercharger pulley back on, it was a little tough. We used the 5/8 ratchet, the closed end, put it on the tensioner. I mean, you can kind of see it down there. Had it around the crankshaft pulley, had it around the idler pulley, and obviously the tensioner pulley, and slipped it over the top pulley with, so if the belt was right here, we used this end, obviously used this end, but towards the back first, and then just, you'll see, you got to work it over. It went after a little bit of struggle, but everything's done. We're going to put the car back together, and that's pretty much it. I guess the only other shot I'll do if it's running and if it doesn't explode or anything. But hopefully you guys found this helpful. It is kind of a pain in the ass, but it's better than spending, who knows, $600 to $800 getting this stuff done at dealership, and it's good to do it preventative maintenance. So, yep. All right, everything's running fine. We got the belts going. Everything's fine. I'll keep you updated if anything goes wrong. Okay, thanks for watching.